Cool. So this webinar is about a couple of different ways in which we can make it easier for the end users to share their location and for NGOs who are using Glyphic for you all to be able to use the location information and use it in a way so that the data you get is clean and then you're able to do targeting and broadcasting at a location level in a slightly easier way. So that's the idea about sharing with you all. There's three different ways of getting location information that we have at the moment. And then how you can form geographic collection so that you are able to do targeting based on location. But before I go ahead, since you all have joined, I would like to just put the question out if you have any specific, is there any currently, is there how you currently gather your user location details and how do you use those location details? Why is it important for you all to collect the location details? So if anyone wants to quickly unmute and share, I can spend like 10 seconds just to understand um, the use case, like the need that you folks may have.
Hi Tejas, it's Anupama from Credo. I just wanted to say for us it would be interesting to find out the location, especially since we are also integrating Bhashini. We would like to know where our users are from so that the regional languages that they use, we can improve on that a bit.
Got it. Got it. Apart from this, is there any other use case where you have to know the locations of the users? That's an interesting use case, I mean, like for sure. Is there any other way? And how do you currently gather this information?
I think Rahul from my team would be able to guide you better on that. I
Acha,
don't
okay.
think at the moment we do collect it, but we would like to in the future.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Um, apart from so there are a couple of orgs already that they collect location information. Also, if you collect already, would be keen to know what has been challenging or tricky for you when it comes to trying to capture location data from users via Glyphic. If there's any specific problems you have faced with Glyphic outside Glyphic, if we want to like share a couple of. Yes, Shagufta.
हाय हाय तेजस। एक्चुअली
Hello.
मैंने भी लास्ट टाइम रेज भी किया था डिस्कॉर्ड में ये वाला इश्यूज डिस्ट्रिक्ट वाला। एक्चुअली
Hmm.
भी हमने अपने ग्लिफिक फ्लो में बेसिकली
Mm-hmm.
रजिस्ट्रेशन फ्लो में ये मैन्युअली उनसे पूछा कि आप किस डिस्ट्रिक्ट से हैं।
Correct.
देन उसके बाद वो जो डेटा आया आई थिंक स्पेलिंग
Correct.
मिस्टेक थी और हमारे लिए काफी मुश्किल हो रहा था ये कि
Hmm.
डेटा को रिफाइन हम कैसे करें। आई थिंक उस टाइम देन आई रियलाइज दैट कि कुछ ऐसा फंक्शन है क्या ग्लिफिक में जिसमें ऑटोमेटिक हम उनसे लोकेशन पूछे देन वो फाइन डेटा हमारे जो क्वेरी या रिस्पॉन्स में वो विजिबल हो
Correct.
ताकि
Correct.
हम डिस्ट्रिक्ट वाइज यूजर रिस्पॉन्स निकाल पाए।
करेक्ट करेक्ट सो जैसे शाव गुप्ता आपने मेंशन किया है लाइक वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम इज इन ग्लिफिक हम मल्टीलिंगुअल फ्लोज बनाते हैं एंड देन व्हेन वी आस्क द यूज़र तो फर्स्ट प्रॉब्लम इज कि जैसे अगर यू नो लाइक लोकेशन व्हाट एवर ट्राई टू आस्क डिस्ट्रिक्ट या फिर सो एक लैंग्वेज द लैंग्वेज बिकम्स लाइक मल्टीपल लाइक समवन कैन राइट चेन्नई इन इंग्लिश समवन कैन राइट चेन्नई इन हिंदी डिपेंडिंग ऑन जो भी हमने जो भी उन्होंने लाइक द लैंग्वेज दैट हैज़ बीन एक्टिवेटेड और प्रेफर्ड लैंग्वेज ऑफ द यूजर दैट बिकम्स वन बिग प्रॉब्लम सेकेंड प्रॉब्लम ये देर इज ऑल्सो सेकेंड प्रॉब्लम दैट हैपन्स इज व्हेन you ask for district but not everyone will know उनका district क्या है so they'll end up writing just like city का नाम or like their locality का नाम so things like that so that's the second problem that so sometimes some programs need specific granular information like just so that they're able to map uh, people and then those people and then certain supervisor or some people are responsible for like looking after those people so that is another issue where if you ask for district, someone may not know. If you ask for division, someone may not know their division, or just in a way that you need that information. So that is the second problem. And third, ये भी we have observed कि there are like different way different sectors divide their region that they operate in. So just to give you an example, political boundaries and for like majority of like use cases जहाँ पे you need to know state, district, and then some organizations need to know which ward the citizens are registering from. So ward is like the smallest unit of division of like the country's region. Whereas educational boundaries, where orgs have to work with schools, schools are divided in like clusters. Each school has a UDICE code. Certain number of schools come under a cluster, and there's like a block education offices, and certain number of clusters come under a block, and then there's educational district. So it's so if when such stakeholders are involved, so you need to be able to map teachers या students या फिर like block education officers or things like that to some these boundaries. So that becomes like the third problem key. There are different ways in which different sectors need the granularity of the location information. So with these as the backdrop, we'll quickly go ahead to some of the solutions that we have. So like Shagufta mentioned, the first solution that we have shared, or like that we have come up with in Glyphic is there is a there's an interactive message in which we can get the like there's in which becomes easy for you to get the location information. So it's a one click method. We call this reverse geolocation. इसमें you get the location as per the Google Maps of the as per the Google Maps, and it can do basic granularity of so you can get country, state, district, city or village, ward name if the ward name is available, pin code and address. So these are the way Google Maps API has divided the administrative levels. So we are able to get this information. I'll quickly show you a demo. Um, but what happens further in the flow. So I'm just starting this flow for myself, but you can imagine that if they're part of a registration flow या ऐसा कुछ, they get like a message like this which says hey please share your location, and they get an interactive button like this. Once they click the interactive button, here you can do a couple of things. You can in this message, for example, um in the message, in the interactive message, you can have like a picture or a infograph which will give them step by step, okay, click the button send current location, or click the button search for your home and send that location. Anything that, like, the exact location you need them to send, that is something you can take care of through directing them how to use it. Otherwise, this is fairly intuitive. You, as soon as they click the location button, they can get all these things and they can send the current location. Once they send the current location, what happens in the background, I can show you the flow. But this essentially, with this, you can get details like state, postal code, district, city, country, and full address of the wherever the pin has been dropped. So this is the reverse geolocation method. This integration we have in Glyphic already, and the information is as per what is stored in Google Maps. So what if Google Maps covers that area, then that information can be made. That can then be surfaced via the Glyphic flow. So implementation steps is, I mean, in this document we can share you the we can share with you the this thing, but there's a documentation which details it fairly well. There is so you use an interactive message to create that first send pin wala interactive message, and then there's a webhook called geolocation. So geolocation gets and you have to pass the when you get location of the user, in that there you can differentiate it as latitude and longitude. So this documentation is fairly simple to follow. This is the way you can implement it. The challenges in this one is that some not all users will trust to send their location. They may want, you may want to specify ki, okay, this location is used for what purpose. It's a one time use only, or like however it is that you want to share. And still some people may struggle to share their current location, like because they, as they click it, they maybe have not tried this before. So it helps to have some visual video or something that you can do as an explainer one step before that, so that it becomes easier. Again, and then since it is a Google Maps API, it may not help you get the sector specific granularity. So if you're a org work in education space or a health space and you need like PHC level mapping or school level mapping and that kind of stuff, then it may not be most suitable for you all. But for most general purposes, this should work fine. I'm happy to take questions on this before I go ahead. So I'll pause for 10 seconds if there's any questions.
Hey, hello Tejas.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Tejas, how can we update all the matlab, all the data in variable?
Hmm.
You know,
Got it. So you can use similar like update contact variable. So let's say you have a flow similar to this, right? So you have the location and you have a send message node after the location, which in which you are just sending the district for your flow. Correct? You're confirming the district key. This is your district.
एक्चुअली तेजस मुझे मैं चाह रही हूँ कि एक ही बार में मैं उनसे स्टेट डिस्ट्रिक्ट एंड उनका जो भी वार्ड नंबर है वो सारा एक बार में ही उनसे कंफर्म कर लूँ. देन फिर क्या मल्टीपल वेरिएबल्स में यूज कर सकती हूँ उसमें?
Yes, you can. So you can do like this. So basically, आपका webhook है यहाँ पे. Like you're sending, you're asking for location, and you're saving the location. So I know you have gotten till here, right? कि you're able to get the response of the webhook, and you're able to print whatever state or like whatever district that comes up as a result of the webhook, right?
Right.
Correct. You're able to get till
Yeah,
here, right?
yeah, yeah.
So here you can just confirm, like, so here I'm just showing, like here you can be like, is yeah, are these details correct? And you don't have to, you can choose to show whatever you want to show. So if you just want to show like state and district, you can just do, yeah, you can do something like, yeah, you can remove all other things. You can show this, and then to update the variables, update the information for that contact, you can use this update contact flow. So one by one, so right now I've updated city, then I can go ahead and update the contact. I can create a uh, just a state variable, and I can update it to results dot log dot state. So this will update the state of that person to the state bit. Does that give you idea? Like, is this what you're looking for?
वन बाय वन मुझे अपडेट करना होगा ना, देन डिस्ट्रिक्ट, देन स्टेट, देन व्हाट. ओके, नाउ
Yeah,
क्लियर.
yeah. So yeah, and here obviously you can like confirm key, is this correct? Like, is this correct? And you can be like answer yes, no, and you can have an interactive message, however you want to like
या या
verify it. If it's like yes, no, based on that you can take your decision. Key, if it's yes, then go ahead. If it's no, then ask them to send their location again. So those bit you can take care.
क्लियर क्लियर.
Okay. So this is how it is. So this is the interactive message. This takes in the location. You can add a like a validation whether the interactive message like has a location. This validation just makes sure that they have shared their present location or their location. So that means the message that they have sent has a latitude and longitude field. And if not, then you can kind of like have another like just to make sure that they're sending the location like a validation. So this is how, I mean, this is the simplest way. This is for using the Google Maps ka locations feature. Again, I'll pause for like 5 seconds if any other questions are there. If not, then I'll go ahead. Okay. Okay, so the next bit is there are some times where so let's say example, for example, you may want to show hierarchical selection, matlab like you have like certain states within state. So let's say like I'm just taking an example of the education use case here, for example. So there's a organization called Allokit has to get registered all the block level officers in education space from only 3 or 4 districts, and they want to make sure that anyone else outside of those districts are not able to register. So this is their use case. Now we showed them the geolocation, but they are not able to get the educational boundaries for their how do you say, like the boundaries are not matching as per their educational granularities or educational levels that they have. So this was their case, and then we had to figure out another way. So I'll just quickly show you what that looks like. So for example, imagine this could be part of your flow, like after a certain name, whatever, the next thing comes up is, so now pick a division. There's and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So they wanted people like only from these 4 things to register, and they had like this data. So within each division, there could be like the next level of selection. So there could be like within division, there could be, let's say like within Kalburgi, there could be like 7 districts. Let's say I picked after in Kalburagi, we selected Raichur, and then within Raichur there could be 5 blocks, and then within Raichur, let's say if I wanted to select Sindhanur, and then there could be, and then there would be clusters, and then there could be 26 clusters. So this is the larger use case where like the mapping becomes like when you have to like have a more than 3 or 4 like such divisions and then districts, and then when this thing becomes like the glyphic flow becomes very very complicated if you just use like basic Google Sheets as the thing, or like if you hard code it yourself. So this is another important use case which then lets you map the users at the granular level of your as per the granularity that you needed according to your sectors. So again, the pros are it gets as per the sector requirement, and it's easy enough to follow for the end user. So with just some more example or like some more directing, like right now, so someone could have entered either one, or they could have entered like they could have entered the name altogether. So that would have been difficult, but with some amount of prompting, like in just putting in the message key, enter the number corresponding to your district, enter the number corresponding to your block, whatever. You can just make sure that they get number, and you can also add a validation key, just accept numbers, and it should not be any other text. So that's the kind of validation you can add, and it can basically like it's as straightforward as that. So that's another way of getting a more granular information. But to implement this, what you need to have is the cleaned up master data. So for example, in case of allocate, they needed to have it at division, district, block, and cluster. So they needed to have this data cleaned up of where there's divisions on the left side, which is like the larger this thing. It has all the divisions listed, and then within division there are district. So for each division, whatever is a list of districts, and then for district, what are the blocks within that district, and for each block, what are the clusters that are available. So just to share you an example, this type of so like just with 4 district, this was about yeah 1,400 rows of data. To do this directly with Google Sheet would have been almost impossible task to do in Glyphic in the way it is right now. But the cleanup data is what is required. Then what we do is we can set up like a Google Cloud Run function. There's a documentation that we have created, like, and this is slightly experimental, so we have not put it out on our documentation. But this doc is something that you can explore, and it has the details and the code for you all to implement. And wherever you get stuck, you can always reach out to us. But the idea is there's a data source which has all these. which has all the mapping, which is the master data of all the how you want the hierarchy to happen. There is a Google Cloud function which hosts this data source, and which the Glyphic flow can call in webhook, and it will send the information like, okay, I'm still sending district is one, so based on the district, like list all the districts first, then list the divisions corresponding to the district, so that it is the code that does that. Wait, let me show this to you. Yeah. That is the second part of the thing. So there's a Python code, and like this thing, a webhook endpoint which accepts the input that is being given by the user. And then there's a like just a basic thing of like, okay, checking the what is the selection made by the user, and based on that giving the next set of hierarchy, and then just like the selection flow. So I mean, it seems fairly complicated, but since we have already done this, we are able to easily replicate it for any other NGO, given that the master data is there. So if you have the master data and then the requirements, we are able to with the help of this template replicate it for you. But essentially, this is what the flow could look like, where you have again, you don't want to ask again and again, like the same user, if they have like whatever is they have selected before. Sometimes you just want to like show that, so you can at the end of the flow, once they have done it, you can like set that state. But essentially, if someone is coming in for the first time, you can ask them to send that first message will have a list of all the like the first level of the user. So it'll have like a unique list of the first, just the divisions. Um, yeah. And then so you can again like do like has a number, and then you can also like, I mean, there are like some basic features of this webhook function that we have developed, which you can like read more in detail of. But if they enter B after this first message, which is to say that they have not entered the correct testing. So I'll just quickly show you what I mean by that. So as you can see over here, if here we have given an option key, if enter B to go back and change the selection. So if they entered 3 by mistake, if they wanted to enter 4, so they can quickly, they can type B, and then this would take back to the first step. So that's just a way for you all to make sure that they don't enter something wrong by mistake. And then each time it kind of like does this thing. And what you have to send in postbot is like this is the first input, and this is the one. Second time input is this one, like the division is the input, and things like that. So again, this is something that we can help you to replicate, and this is it's fairly complex at the way it looks right now, but since we have done it once, it should be possible to replicate for other orgs. So this is another way of doing it. The only challenge over here is master data should be there clean, and the challenges is that maybe you need some knowledge of using Google Cloud Functions. I don't think you need it because we can help you to do that. But calling this the API and hosting the Google Cloud function in your Google Cloud platform, that may take some nominal charges for hosting that, and depending on number of times that function is getting called, it may incur some additional cost. And then just one bit of the challenge would be that the handling multiple languages becomes challenging, because master data is has to be in English, or then different sets of master data will have to be maintained. So just that becomes a bit challenging. Again, it can be solved, but it's just a bit challenging. So that's like the second method of doing it. We're calling this hierarchical selection, but if anyone has like a better way of naming this, we're also open to changing the name of this. But I'll pause here if there's any questions. Okay. Thank you, Shah Gupta. So I'll quickly go ahead. Then the third way is there are like other open data sets, or like like folks who maintain certain, like like open data things that are there, which are used to then link each like unit, and then for each unit there are like this thing. So for example, there are like primary health centers. Each primary health center may have its own code, or each school has something called as a UDICE code. So UDICE code is something. So for each UDICE code, there are certain information that are linked to that UDICE code. So for example, what's the school name? What is the school? Um, um, yeah, where the school is, like what are the educational block, which cluster, which division, which all these things. And then yeah, so this is like a national information center maintained database, and like a service by them. So so again, if there are some other things like that, maybe it's for at a primary health center, there are certain if each primary health center has its own identification number, or if each Anganwadi has its identification number, or if each if there are some identification numbers, or if there is any such things available in open and which we can use. So that's another way of getting the location info. So I'll just quickly show you a demo of that. So for example, you can ask a user what is that unique identification number. For in this case, it's UDICE. So I'm just sharing like a UDICE number of from some school in UP. This is from another use case that we had working with another NGO, and multiple education-based NGOs. They use this type of use case. So here we enter the UDICE code, and then they just need these four information. They need the school name, they need the district, they need the block of the school, and they need the school type. So school type could be composite, could be a private school, or like public supported. Some there are different types of schools for that. So they need to know that for their user, like where the user is coming from, what type of school it is. So this is like an again like one simplest way for, especially for education uh, sector use case. Uh, yeah. Um, Similar thing, if any data sources are available for you all for other use cases or for other sectors, we can where we can explore how that can be done as well. But again, a prerequisite is that you should know what type of data, or what type of open data is out there with which you can integrate and get the user's location information. And We can do similar documentation like we shared, like like we can do similar setup like the previous method, where we can set up a cloud function. That cloud function can accept the code, and then it can return the whatever other information that you need corresponding to that code. And yeah, then it'll have similar challenges where multiple languages could be difficult. Maybe additional cost will be incurred for running such cloud functions, and you may need to have some knowledge of, like maybe just in case of troubleshooting or things. Won't be a lot, and this is also something that you can reach out to Glyphic team for. But that's another way of getting hierarchical data. I'll again pause here for a quick 10 seconds before we go to the next bit of it. Happy to take any questions. Happy to understand if you have any specific use case. If you see any one of these or none of this fitting into a use case, if you want to explain your use case and understand how we could solve it. Okay, so I'll quickly go ahead. The last bit of it is once you have the location information, district, state, however, then how do you target it with geographic collections? So, while I was working with Reap Benefit, we had our use case required us to maintain contacts who have come from different geographies within India, and then so that we could nudge them with hyper-local problems and hyper-local campaigns and hyper-local events that they could get involved in. So that required us to map them at a city level, at a district, or like at a district or division level. And then what we did was we created these locations. We created these collections which we called them as geo collections. So geo underscore Mumbai, geo underscore Delhi, geo underscore Bangalore, and we collected a bunch of these collections wherever we knew our users were coming from. So just to share you an example, geo Bangalore urban, geo Belgaum, Chennai, Delhi, Gadak, Haveri, and then we operated in. I mean, Rebenefit does operate in like lots of these areas. So first step is to like have these geo collections, and then second is as you are going through your present flows, as your registration flows and things like that. One of the ways is as you collect their information, what you can do is you can use split by, and you can match for what is the geography name. Like you can match for the division name, whether it's like whatever you get as a response from these various areas, and you can directly keep on adding them to the collections, so that as and when your new contacts go on the registering with your chatbot, you are essentially your collections are growing, and you have a bunch of like you have this geo uh, collections which you can then target for your local like for the purposes that you have. So you can make it at state level, you can make it at other levels. Recommended would be probably like city and state level, but that's a call that you can take on your this thing. And there's also ways where sometimes all the users may or may not be part of your like pre-identified geolocations. So you can create like geo other, wherein you can handle all other geographies where they're coming from, and then periodically clean up that geo other collection by figuring out like what exactly is their division, looking into their collection and looking into those division contact variable, and then figuring out if you need to create more new collections, and like like add these if there are like more from certain areas which you didn't know you were getting users from. But that's just one of the ways in which you can do it. There are also many other ways which you can think about, but this is one of the ways where we had tried, and uh, yeah, replicate, and like Rebenefit continues to use this type of location collection, grouping, and then targeting for running their hyper local campaigns and events. Happy to take more questions on this. Otherwise, this webinar is what we had to share in this level up. Ways for you to collect hyperlocal granular information on locations. And you can reach out over Discord to figure out a solution that works best for your use case. We expect that you hold your use case and you share it with us. We'll be happy to help you do the best that we can. Um, I'll just share a feedback on this webinar. So before we drop off, if you all can share your feedback, that'll be great. Post which we can drop off. I think a feedback form should be, I think you all should have a feedback form released right now.